Next part, cross border implications. So on the first day itself we discussed uh, different stages of money laundering, placement, layering and integration, and I mentioned an example where the funds in India, they are moved to abroad, outside India, and layers will be found. Again, that money will come back to India. So is this called as cross border transaction or not? Cross border and ఏంటి? What is that? Outside India the money is moving out and it comes in back. Okay, so cross border implications ఉంటాయి. So these are covered under part C of the scheduled offenses. Part 3, part C, mostly connected with evasion of taxes in the tax haven nations. Okay, అంటే where taxes are not there in that country. So the illegally obtained money in India is transferred to that country where the taxes are not there. Okay, and it comes under Ministry of External Affairs. So tells her government of India will have one ministry called as Ministry of External Affairs. They deal with foreign countries. Okay, so this cross border transactions will come under Ministry of External Affairs with the help of United Nations Security Council resolution. So United Nations ani, there is an organization under which many countries got registered. So it will be covered under United Nations Security Council resolution. So they take the necessary action to avoid money laundering activities. So group of countries put together, they are members of United Nations, and they form regulations and rules for the purpose of avoidance of terrorism, for the purpose of avoidance of money laundering activities that may take place in those countries. Collectively they fight for it in the name called as UN. What is UN? United Nations, right? So international standards on combating అంటే reduction, combating money laundering and financing of terrorism. ఇది or terrorist అని కూడా terrorist and proliferation. So financing of terrorists అనేది అంటున్నాం కదా, what is that? They need money. So terrorism ki whatever the money they get, it is illegal money only. So lot of times I quoted one example from foreign countries. Again the money will come back to India, right? In the name of NPO, in the name of religious trusts, charitable trusts, in the name of spending money for NPO, they spend for this activity, terrorism activity ki they fight, అంటే they donate అలా అన్నమాట. సో ప్రాలిఫరేషన్ అంటే దాని మీనింగ్ ఇంక్రీజింగ్ డే బై డే. ప్రాలిఫరేషన్ అంటే ఏంటి? ఇంక్రీజింగ్ డే బై డే. ఇంక్రీజింగ్ డే బై డే. So how to reduce that? Financing of terrorists or terrorism and proliferation increasing day by day. Okay, how to reduce that? So for that there are some international standards. See here, anti money laundering or countering the finance of terrorism. Okay, finance of terrorism. So these are the standards. CDD, customer due diligence. Financial organizations like banks, they conduct this customer due diligence. What is due diligence? Carefully observing whoever the customers we get. Okay, no KYC. Why exactly they are making the transactions? Due diligence, taking care of each and every transaction what a customer is doing. Okay, CDD. What is CDD? Customer due diligence. తర్వాత what is this? Interpretative note. So ఇవన్నీ ఏంటి? All these are international standards. Multiple countries they follow these standards. ఇప్పుడు CDD అనే దాని గురించి we have further discussion. CDD and even politically exposed persons. So there is a person who is now accused of this money laundering, but he is already having what, he is politically exposed. Okay, he's a politician అనుకోండి. Okay, now how to deal with that incident? Now there is a person who is politically exposed and is also doing the activity called as money laundering or this terrorism. What he is having some link ups. So how to deal with this particular instance? Okay, అలా కొన్ని ఇచ్చారు. Okay, you come to countering the finance of terrorism. These are just names and full forms. You can just read. Further discussion can be made. See, countering the finance of terrorism. There are international anti-money laundering organizations which are very much involved in countering the terrorist financing. Because as per IMF reports, IMF అంటే ఏంటి? IMF రిపోర్ట్స్ అంటే ఇంటర్నేషనల్ మానిటరీ ఫండ్. ఓకే, అంటే ఫండ్స్ how exactly it is moving, to which account it is moving, is it for terrorist activity, is it for normal activity? So international level lo huge transactions when it happens. Okay, this is the organization which takes care of it. వాళ్ళు ఏం చెప్తున్నారంటే IMF is saying, as per the reports of IMF, terrorist financing is the biggest reason of getting involved into laundering. Why exactly people do money laundering? And it is not only for the purpose of avoidance of tax. What is the biggest reason for money laundering? Financing the terrorism అని వాళ్ళు చెప్తున్నారు IMF. Okay, because they know where the funds are moving, for what purpose those funds are moving in. And they, as per their reports, they are saying what is the main reason for money laundering? Terrorism and activity is the main reason for money laundering. And at the same time, data protection relating to national security is also covered under countering the finance. CFT rules and ఏంటి? What is CFT? Countering the finance terrorism. So nation's security is very much important, and nation's data must not be leaked. And data security ki this చెప్పాను కదా, countering the finance of terrorism, they must focus. Okay, money laundering offense under Vienna, అది NNA, Vienna Convention, and this is Palermo Convention. Okay, so మనం generally we listen to various commission అని చెప్పి government will form a commission where they will take care. ఇప్పుడు చూడండి, board of directors will be subdivided into many subcommittees, right? Similarly, for the purpose of avoidance of this or reducing the activity called as money laundering, కొన్ని countries they formed some commissions and they framed some rules. ఓకే, అలా ఉన్న కొన్ని కమిషన్స్ ఏంటంట, ఇట్ ఈస్ వియన్నా అండ్ పలెర్మో కన్వెన్షన్. ఓకే, దే సెట్ ఫ్యూ థింగ్స్. ఇట్ ఇంక్లూడ్స్ వేరియస్ అఫెన్సెస్ అండర్ విచ్ very strict vigilance is always kept. There is no on under which very strict vigilance అంటే vigilance. What is vigilance? Continuously monitoring. Okay, vigilance అంటే foreseeing, always into that and mean. Okay, so it includes various offenses under which very strict vigilance is always kept. For example, narcotic drugs, psychotropic అంటే there are few drugs which will have its impact on brain. Okay, psychotropic అని పిలుస్తాం, psychotropic substances. Okay, so some chemical combinations when we take, okay, intake చేస్తే what will be affected? Our brain will be at sedation stage. అలాంటి substances. See, narcotics, psychotropic substances, terrorist financing, etc. Okay, Vienna Convention and Palermo Convention, they identified certain instances which must be highly focused. Highest vigilance must be imposed on those areas. What are those areas? Narcotics. Narcotics and ఏంటి? What is narcotics? Drugs. Okay, drugs. Psychotropic substances అంటే మీకు చెప్పాను. What is psychotropic substances? It is a chemical mix. When intake is there, it will affect on brain. Brain sedation stage పనిచేయి సరిగ్గా. Okay. Under these measures, the authorities carry out following functions. Okay, authorities carry out following functions. Point number 1. Identify, trace, and evaluate the property. Okay, identify, trace, and evaluate the property. Evaluate and ఏంటి? Check. Okay. Freezing and seizing to prevent any dealings. See, దేని గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాం? ఈ టెర్రరిస్ట్ ఫైనాన్సింగ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ దే ఆర్ హ్యాపెనింగ్ ఎట్ సమ్ ప్లేస్. సో దట్ ప్లేస్ కెన్ బి సీజ్డ్. దట్ ప్లేస్ కెన్ బి ఐడెంటిఫైడ్, ట్రేస్డ్, అండ్ లాస్ట్ వన్ ఎవాల్యుయేట్ ద ప్రాపర్టీ. చెక్ చేస్తారు అండ్ దే విల్ ట్రై టు స్టాప్ దట్ యాక్టివిటీ. సెకండ్ పాయింట్, ఫ్రీజింగ్ అండ్ సీజింగ్ టు ప్రివెంట్ ఎనీ డీలింగ్స్. ఏ డీలింగ్స్? టెర్రరిజం ఫైనాన్సింగ్ యాక్టివిటీ ఏమైనా జరిగితే దట్ కెన్ బి సీజ్డ్. ఓకే, టేక్ స్టెప్స్ దట్ విల్ ప్రివెంట్ ఆర్ అవాయిడ్ ద యాక్షన్స్. Avoid the actions. Carry out appropriate investigation. చెప్పాను కదా, వియన్నా కన్వెన్షన్ అండ్ పలర్మో కన్వెన్షన్, దే ఆర్ మోస్ట్లీ ఫోకసింగ్ ఆన్ వాట్? దేని గురించి ఫోకస్ చేస్తున్నారు? దే ఆర్ ఫోకసింగ్ ఆన్ ద వేరియస్ అఫెన్సెస్ విచ్ నీడ్ హై విజిలెన్స్. ఓకే, అండ్ మోస్ట్లీ దే ఆర్ ఇన్ టు వాట్? నార్కోటిక్స్, psychotropic substances, terrorist activities, and wherever it happens they can go there, identify, trace, and seize that property, and at the same time they may take the steps to prevent the activity to happen. Okay, and the last one, carry out the appropriate investigation. Easy only. These are there are countries which have criminalized terrorist financing and proliferation. As I said, what is proliferation? Increasing. Okay, increasing, but still there are some nations which are not working in such direction completely. So sir, there are some countries which are very strict on terrorism, but there are some countries which are not so much focused on these areas. You know, few of the countries which encourage terrorism. జనరల్గా మనం చూస్తుంటాం మూవీస్లో వాటిలో చూస్తుంటాం. ఎక్కువ టెర్రరిజం అంటే మనకి ఎటువైపు వినిపిస్తుంటుంది? ఆఫ్ఘనిస్తాను, లేకపోతే పాకిస్తాన్. దీస్ ఆర్ ద ఏరియాస్ వీ లిజన్. అయితే మనకు తెలిసినంత వరకు ఇన్ మూవీస్ వీ వాచ్, వాట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ హ్యాపెన్స్ అని వీ డోంట్ నో. ఓకే, సో ఏం చేస్తారట, దెర్ ఆర్ సమ్ కంట్రీస్ విచ్ టేక్ టెర్రరిజం యాజ్ సివియర్ క్రైమ్, బట్ దెర్ ఆర్ సమ్ కంట్రీస్ జస్ట్ లైక్ దట్ దే డీల్ విత్ terrorism. ఊరికే ఉత్తుత్తునంత they are not so much focused on it. Okay, ways of doing terrorist financing and proliferation. This you know. ఇది చూడండి ఒకసారి ఎలా చేస్తారని చెప్పాను. టెర్రరిస్ట్ ఫైనాన్సింగ్ బై ఎన్పిఓ పోజింగ్ యాజ్ బై నాట్ ఫర్ ప్రాఫిట్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ పోజింగ్ యాజ్ లెజిటిమేట్. ఏంటి లెజిటిమేట్ అంటే? లీగల్. అంటే they appear as legitimate entity, legal entity, but in fact they do all illegal activities. అలా అనమాట. ఎన్పిఓ పోజింగ్ యాజ్ లెజిటిమేట్ ఎంటిటీస్. బయటకు ఎలా కనిపిస్తాయంటే మొత్తం రిలీజియస్ యాక్టివిటీస్ ఆర్ చారిటబుల్ యాక్టివిటీస్. దీస్ ఆర్ ద మెయిన్ ఎజెండా ఆఫ్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్, బట్ ఇన్ ఫ్యాక్ట్ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్స్ ఇన్సైడ్? టెర్రరిజం. డైవర్షన్ ఆఫ్ ఫండ్స్ ఫ్రమ్ లెజిటిమేట్ పర్పసెస్ టు, మీరు చెప్పండి, ఎన్పిఓ ఫర్ వాట్ పర్పస్ దే నీడ్ టు స్పెండ్ మనీ? ఫర్ లెజిటిమేట్ పర్పస్ ఓన్లీ దే నీడ్ టు స్పెండ్. లీగల్ పర్పస్గా దే నీడ్ టు స్పెండ్. హౌఎవర్ వాట్ దే ఆర్ డూయింగ్, దే ఆర్ డైవర్టింగ్ దట్ ఫండ్స్ టు టెర్రరిస్ట్. సో కస్టమర్ డ్యూ డిలిజెన్స్ మోస్ట్లీ ఇన్ ద నేమ్ ఆఫ్ రిలీజియస్ యాక్టివిటీసే ఇది జరుగుతుంది ఎక్కువ. ఓకే, చూసారా ISIS వీళ్ళందరూ ఇస్లామిక్ స్టేట్ ఏంటది, ఇట్ ఈస్ అ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ విచ్ ప్రీచ్ ఇస్లాం. కానీ అందులో ఏం జరుగుతుంటుందట, లాట్ ఆఫ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ ఈ టెర్రరిస్ట్ రిలేటెడ్ అన్నీ జరుగుతుంది. ఓకే, ఇలా సో కస్టమర్ డ్యూ డిలిజెన్స్ అండ్ రికార్డ్ కీపింగ్. యాజ్ యూ ఆల్ నో, కస్టమర్ డ్యూ డిలిజెన్స్ అంటే దిస్ ఈజ్ అప్లికబుల్ ఫర్ హోమ్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్, బ్యాంక్స్ బిఫోర్ they provide any bank account to anyone, they need to have that KYC, right? And they need to identify some accounts which are in risk. Okay, lot of transactions. చెప్పారు గట్టిగా అర్థం చెప్పు, అలా రికార్డ్ అయిపోతాయి. ఓకే, under CDD following measures have been taken by institutions. ఏ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ ఇవి? ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్. ఐడెంటిఫైయింగ్ ద కస్టమర్ అండ్ చెకింగ్ హిస్ documentation for reliability purpose. What is reliability purpose? Whether to believe him or not, it all depends upon the documentation, the identity of the particular customer. Okay, check it. Point number 2, checking the nomination details exhaustively. Nomination details and ఏంటి? Every person will have one nominee. ఒక person go and say, when you open a bank account, say I'm having a bank balance of around 10 lakh rupees. When I open a bank account, I just need to write the name of the nominee in that bank application. Okay, account application, I need to write what? Nominee. So in case of any death of the customer, then the money will vest with, it will go to the nominee. Okay, similarly ఇక్కడ కూడా, so also check the details of whom? Nominee, because ultimately the funds will go to that nominee only, right? If anything happens to the original account holder, then the money will go to whom? The nominees, and hence check the nominee details also. So this is point number 2. Point number 1 and 2, please read. So CDD, what is CDD? Customer due diligence. Carefully observing the activities of the customer. Customer due diligence ante. What is customer due diligence? Carefully identifying, monitoring whom? The customer transactions. It starts right from the beginning, identifying the customer and checking his documentation for reliability purpose. Come to point number 3. Scrutinizing the transactions. What is scrutinizing? Detail checking. Okay, the transactions, whatever he enters into, for what purpose it is entered into, to whom the money is going, from whom the person is getting the money. So all these things must be scrutinized and verify the source of funds, from where he gets the money. Okay, in case of any suspicion, effective measures can be taken by the institution to stop such laundering activities by their customers. Anything, any doubt, if the financial institutions get, then immediately they will freeze the account. Okay, ఆ అకౌంట్ని ఆపరేట్ చేయరు, they will freeze the account. Whenever it is freezed, what will happen? ఇంకా they can stop that money laundering activity, right? So any suspicion which is identified by the financial institution, it will take care that the money laundering process will be stopped. అలా కేర్ తీసుకోవాలి. They need to take care so that money laundering process will be stopped. Okay, so what is the thing that they can do? They can freeze what? Bank account, right? So please read all 4 points. It is about what? Customer due diligence. Customer due diligence. Read all 4 points. ఓకేనా? రికార్డ్ కీపింగ్. రికార్డ్ కీపింగ్ అంటే ఏంటి? As in the process of customer due diligence, we get a lot of documentation, right, from the customer. It should be preserved. That documentation must be preserved, and it shall be maintained for at least 5 years after the relationship with the institution ended. Say example, you are the customer of a bank, and you closed your account. After that, after few days, you have done some transactions, and after that you closed your bank account, but still your record must be maintained for 5 years, next 5 years. So customer due diligence, it is an important area, record keeping. For how many years it must be there? 5 years after the end of the relationship with the financial institution, right? And it can be made anytime available to the domestic competent authority. So నేను చెప్పాను కదా, డైరెక్టర్, ఇంకా అసిస్టెంట్ డైరెక్టర్, దీస్ ఆర్ ద పర్సన్స్, లోకల్ అథారిటీస్. ఓకే, సో డొమెస్టిక్ కాంపిటెంట్ అథారిటీ అంటే they are from India. If in case if we talk about India, then obviously these banks are now liable to produce the documentation to whom? The authorities. Okay, authorities of usually PML. Who are the authorities? PMLA authorities. What is PMLA? Prevention of money laundering. Right? Now we deal with politically exposed persons. ఇందాక చెప్పాను కదా, పొలిటికల్లీ ఎక్స్పోజ్డ్ పర్సన్ వీ నీడ్ టు బీ మోర్ కేర్ఫుల్. సో జస్ట్ లైక్ దట్ వీ కెనాట్ వితౌట్ హ్యావింగ్ ది ఎవిడెన్స్ వీ కెనాట్ రిపోర్ట్ ఆన్ దట్ పర్సన్, ఎందుకంటే ఈజ్ ఆల్రెడీ పొలిటికలీ ఎక్స్పోజ్డ్. అలా జరిగింది అనుకోండి, లాట్ ఆఫ్ డ్యామేజ్ విల్ హ్యాపెన్ టు ద పర్టికులర్ గవర్నమెంట్. ఓకే, సో వితౌట్ హ్యావింగ్ ఎవిడెన్స్, వితౌట్ ప్రాపర్ ఇన్వెస్టిగేషన్, యు ఆర్ నాట్ సపోజ్ టు accuse someone who is already politically exposed. So before we report on that person who is politician, then do these activities. Okay, in addition to CDD, following steps must be taken in case of politically exposed persons. Carry out appropriate risk management assessment. A risk I'm talking about, the risk of money laundering. So the transactions whatever he makes, the payments what he does, the payments what he receives, all the things we need to take into consideration, and then we need to make risk assessment. Risk assessment cheyalata. Okay, risk assessment in relation to money laundering chesi obtain senior management approvals for such business relationships. See, financial institutions ata పొలిటికలీ ఎక్స్పోజ్డ్ పర్సన్ బ్యాంక్ అకౌంట్తో డీల్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు, వెన్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ ఆర్ డీలింగ్ విత్ పొలిటికలీ ఎక్స్పోజ్డ్ పర్సన్స్ బ్యాంక్ అకౌంట్స్, ఓకే, వాళ్ళు చేయాలి. చూడండి, క్యారీ అవుట్ రిస్క్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ అసెస్మెంట్. సో బ్యాంక్ అకౌంట్, బ్యాంక్ పీపుల్ విల్ నో, రైట్, టు whom the payments are made, from whom the payments they are getting అనేది. And after the risk management assessment is done, then go to the senior management for approval. ఓకే, ఎవరు సీనియర్ మేనేజ్మెంట్? ఐఎమ్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ సీనియర్ మేనేజ్మెంట్. అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి గెట్ ద అప్రూవల్, అండ్ దెన్ ఆల్వేస్ మానిటర్ దేర్ సోర్స్ ఆఫ్ వెల్త్ అండ్ సోర్స్ ఆఫ్ ఫండ్స్. ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ ఆర్ రిక్వైర్డ్ టు ఆల్వేస్ మానిటర్ వాట్? ద సోర్స్ ఆఫ్ వెల్త్ అండ్ సోర్స్ ఆఫ్ ఫండ్స్ ఆఫ్ హూమ్? పొలిటికలీ ఎక్స్పోజ్డ్ పర్సన్స్. సో అంత ఎవ్రీథింగ్ దే మానిటర్ కేర్ఫుల్లీ. And then after carrying out all these initiatives, okay, it shall be determined. And if it is a high risk business relationship, a business relationship, bank is having the relationship with whom? Politically exposed persons. Adi high risk anipiste, then it should be reported to whom? PMLA authorities. Bank is required to report, right? ఇప్పుడు ఎవరి గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాను నేను? ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్, దే ఆర్ రిక్వైర్డ్ టు రిపోర్ట్ టు ద అథారిటీస్ ఇఫ్ దే హ్యావ్ ఎనీ అకౌంట్స్ విచ్ ఆర్ హై రిస్క్. ఓకే, సో పొలిటికల్లీ ఎక్స్పోజ్డ్ పర్సన్స్ కి దే నీడ్ టు ఈవెన్ డూ మోర్ యాక్టివిటీస్ ప్రయర్ టు రిపోర్టింగ్ టు ద అథారిటీస్. ఓకే, వాట్ ఆర్ ద additional activities that we need to do? See, all 4 points. Carry out appropriate risk management. Okay, risk management లో ఏవే వస్తాయి? From where the funds, the sources, and to where the funds are moving out, the frequency of the transactions, how frequent the money goes out, comes in, all these things must be taken into consideration, and the finance institution must decide whether the politically exposed person is in the category of high risk or low risk. ఇలాంటివన్నీ చేయాలి. ఏ పాయింట్స్? ఫస్ట్ 3 పాయింట్స్. ఫస్ట్ 3 పాయింట్స్. పాయింట్ నెంబర్ 1 రిస్క్ మేనేజ్మెంట్. పాయింట్ నెంబర్ 2 get the approvals of the senior management. Point number 3 obtain the sources of the wealth of the politically exposed person and the source of funds from where he is getting the money. So all these things must be kept in mind. And after all this, if the bank is still considering the account has high risk, then it must be informed to whom? Authorities. Must be reported to authorities. Right? Okay, please read. So politically exposed persons, so when the financial institutions are dealing with, then in addition to CDD and customer due diligence. Anyway, customer due diligence is mandatory. After that, for a politically exposed persons, financial institutions must take following 3 things as initiatives. What is point number 1? Risk management. Point number 2, identify the source of funds. Inka point number 2, get the approval from the senior management about the business relationship. And then if it is considered as high risky, then go and inform to the authorities. That's it. Next area. Value transfer service. Money or value transfer services. Short form lo we call it as MVTS. MVTS. Money or value transfer services. Okay. Say what exactly it is. Money or value transfer service ante what exactly it is. These are the persons who take care of transferring the money to one account from one account to another account. ఇలా అనమాట. So these are in addition to finance institutions. Let me take the example of currency exchange. Foreign exchange management చేస్తారు కదా వాళ్ళు. ఏంటి, when we go and deposit money in rupees, they may give you dollars. ఇలా ఉండొచ్చు అనమాట. Okay. So these people are called as what? Money or value transfer services. Okay. Say another example. When you pay through credit card లో పే చేశారు అనుకోండి. Say example, I have SBI. You have HDFC credit card. Okay. So when you make the payment from HDFC credit card, the money will not directly come to the SBI. Money will first go to some agent. That agent will settle the money to SBI. And from HDFC credit card, money will be deducted and the money will be transferred to whom? The SBI account. And this will be facilitated by MVTS. Okay, money or value transfer services. Money or value transfer services. So who are these people who facilitate the transfer from one account to another account? వీళ్ళ గురించి ఐఎమ్ నాట్ స్పెసిఫికలీ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్, ఐఎమ్ నాట్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ బ్యాంక్, ఐఎమ్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ దోస్ పర్సన్స్ హూ ఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ దట్ రైట్ టు ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ ద మనీ ఫ్రమ్ వన్ ప్లేస్ టు అనదర్ ప్లేస్. వాళ్ళ గురించి మాట్లాడతాం. ఓకే. లాట్ ఆఫ్ కంట్రీస్ లో దీస్ ఆర్ వెన్ యూ గో టు ఫారెన్ కంట్రీ అండ్ యూ వాంట్ టు సెండ్ ద మనీ ఫ్రమ్ దట్ కంట్రీ టు హియర్ ఇన్ ఇండియా. సో మీరు అక్కడ జాబ్కి వెళ్ళారు, యూ గెట్ శాలరీ ఇన్ ఎందులో వస్తుంది? dollars, right? And you want to send that money back to India. And this can be facilitated by whom? MVTS, money or value transfer service. So most of the countries, various countries are providing MVTS in compliance. Compliance with Financial Action Task Force recommendation. Okay. So meaning ఏంటంటే when we go to a country and from that country you want to transfer money to another country, then they need to go to whom? MVTS. MVTS దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళాలి. You need to go to MVTS. And that MVTS will transfer the money from that country to this country. And before the transaction is done, they need to follow the guidelines which are given by Financial Action Task Force. వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారు? ఫైనాన్షియల్ యాక్షన్ టాస్క్ ఫోర్స్ అంటే ఇప్పుడు see, when you want to go to US from India, first of all you need to go to US embassy here. You need to get the visa. They will check everything. Then only you will be given with what? Visa, right? అలానే అక్కడ they will have what? Task force. They will verify each and every activity from where you obtained. Is it from salary? Is it from business? Okay, how did you get these many dollars here in this country అని చెప్పి they will verify everything. And then if everything is fair, and then the money may be transferred from that country to India. Who will transfer? MVTS. And they need to follow whose guidelines? Whose guidelines? అక్కడ రాసింది ఫైనాన్షియల్ యాక్షన్ టాస్క్ ఫోర్స్. ఓకే. అయితే బిఫోర్ సమ్వన్ యాక్ట్స్ యాజ్ MVTS, first of all they need to get the license. I am not talking about banks now. I am talking about the fund transferring authority. Okay. If you want to start this kind of business which can facilitate the fund transfer, then you need to go and get the license from the particular country. ఆ కంట్రీ దగ్గర నుంచి లైసెన్స్ తెచ్చుకొని then you do that activity. Okay. So countries must focus who exactly doing this business. ఏ బిజినెస్? మనీ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేసే బిజినెస్. ఓకే. ఆర్ దే ఎలిజిబుల్ టు డూ ద సేమ్? Okay. Did they get the registration? Did they get the license? If anyone doing that activity without license, they must be restricted. ఇలాంటివన్నీ వస్తాయి అన్నమాట. That particular country needs to take care of this. Right? So see, it is about giving license or registration for money transfer services. Money transfer service. ఈ money transfer services చేసేది it may be in the form of artificial person or it may be in the form of natural person. Artificial person అంటే ఎవరు? It may be in the name of company or it may be in the name of sole proprietorship also they can do this activity. In any case, they need to take what? License. Okay. So countries need to now focus whether the MVTS, money or value transfer services providers, they have taken the registration or not, and it needs to be checked by whom? Country. That particular country needs to take care of it. Right? So తర్వాత బట్ అని రాస్తుంది కదా, బట్ if it is legal or natural person having good track record అని you strike off that. It is not there in the textbook. Everyone who is having that business, which business I am talking about? MVTS business, fund transfer facility. Okay. Those persons must obtain license. Okay. At the same time, new technologies are getting developed by financial institutions to tackle unauthorized laundering activities and money transfers. Easy only. Read point number 3. Read point number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Complete chain. I am now talking about whom? I am talking about money or value transfer services providers. Okay, they need to take license. Ade ikkada main point. What is the main point here? License. సార్ చెప్పండి సార్. అవును సార్, ఏమైంది సార్? నేను వస్తాను సార్, ఒక 10 minutes వచ్చేస్తాను. కూర్చోబెట్టండి, నేను వస్తాను.
వస్తారు సార్.
వస్తాను. ఎవరు వచ్చింది?
సార్ మాట్లాడారు
పేరెంట్ వచ్చారా?
సార్ ఒకసారి బీబీఏ వాళ్ళతోనే మాట్లాడండి సార్, ఫీజు కట్టలేదు, లాస్ట్ డేట్ అంట.
ఇది ఎగ్జామ్ ఫీజు కట్టలేదు, ఫస్ట్ సెమిస్టర్ కట్టలేదు సార్. చాలా సార్లు చెప్పారు కదా గ్రూప్ లో.
సార్ మేము పెట్టాం సార్, మేము రోజు చెప్తున్నాం వాళ్ళకి.
మాట్లాడతాం. రాయరేమో, డిగ్రీ చేయరేమో. Okay, so now reliance on third party to perform CDD. So now we are talking about third party. So let me take the example. I want to open a current account in a bank. ఒక బ్యాంక్లో I want to open a account. Now ఈ రోజుల్లో we don't need to go to the bank. Bank only will send few persons. Okay, they'll come to your place. They'll give all the documents. They make you fill up all the documents. So Aadhaar card, everything they'll obtain, and they'll go and get the account open. Okay, and who is this person? Ante these people are third parties. Banks will appoint this third party who needs to go to the customer and get all the CDD done. What is CDD? Customer due diligence. Now who exactly is doing the CDD? CDD చేస్తుంది ఎవరు? Is it the financial institution, or is it the third party with whom the financial institution has entered into an agreement? Now ఎవరు చేస్తున్నారు? The third party is performing the CDD activity. Okay, ఆ స్టోరీ మాట్లాడు. So there is a bank, say example Kotak Bank is there. Kotak Bank entered into an agreement with third party, and this third party will conduct what now? CDD. For whom? Customer. Okay, if such activity happens, then how to deal with? So reliance on third party to perform CDD. So some countries are permitting FIs, few countries are permitting banks to rely upon third party to obtain CDD information. So few of the countries they are allowing whom? Financial institutions to appoint whom? Third parties to do what? CDD. That's it. Come to second point. The institutions should take adequate steps to ensure that third party is reliable, regulated, supervised, and monitored. So Kotak Bank appointed third party, right? Kotak Bank needs to monitor whom? Third party. Okay, Kotak Bank needs to check the reliability that can be placed on third party. Third party ki the track record must be good. And they will do the work properly. And a confidence who must have? Financial institutions must have before they appoint whom? Third party. So the institutions should take, a institution is the financial institution. I am talking about bank. The bank should take adequate steps to ensure that third party is reliable, regulated. There are some rules they need to follow. Who? Third party. Okay, and supervised and monitored. Point number 3. The record keeping of third party will also be maintained for at least 5 years. Normally, finance institution is required to maintain 5 years, right? Under CDD, what is the retention period? 5 years. All the documentation must be maintained for 5 years. The same 5 years is now applicable for whom? Third party. Because CDD is done by third party. So, directly finance institution, if it is doing CDD, 5 years retention period. Even when it is done through third party, then also it is 5 years. Easy only. Last area for today, that is Reporting of suspicious transactions. Okay, suspicious transactions. If the financial institution suspect any suspicious transactions, then it should be immediately reported to FIU. FIU అంటే ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ యూనిట్. ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ యూనిట్ కి పంపించాలట. సో దే విల్ డూ మోర్ ఇన్వెస్టిగేషన్. Normally banks will inform these transactions to whom? Financial intelligence unit. What the financial intelligence unit will do? They will do more investigation. So FIU will conduct what? More investigation, right? What is point number 2? The directors or officers or employees of FI. See, banks lo unna directors, employees, officers, they should be protected under law. Okay, because say example, I am the person who is the officer of a bank. I got to know there is a transaction of Mr. X, who is a politician, or who is a mid-sized don. Yavaru? Vishnu is the don, and he is having an account with SBI. I am the employee of SBI. I identified some red flag. Okay, I identified a transaction where it leads to what? Money laundering. Okay, and I informed FIU about this, and they started investigating. Finally, he also started investigating from whom this transaction was escalated, and identify చేస్తే తెలిసిపోయింది మిస్టర్ రవి. Then there may be a threatening calls రావచ్చు కదా, that may be received by Mr. Ravi. అలా అవ్వకుండా the secrecy must be maintained. So the person who is doing this must be kept confidential. The information must be kept confidential. అది చెప్తున్నాను. The directors or officers or employees of FIs will be protected under law from any similar criminal activity for disclosing such information. Disclose చేసినందుకు అతని సీక్రెట్. The information must be kept secret. Such act is also known as tipping off. Okay, ఆ యాక్టివిటీని ఏమని పిలుస్తారట? టిప్పింగ్ ఆఫ్. Okay, so we completed more than half of the syllabus. I guess నేను ఏం చేస్తానంటే, tomorrow is holiday. I just want to start from November 1st. Management audit. Okay, management audit. I'll do one thing. If I get some time today in the night, I will try to record rest. 7-8 pages are still pending, right? I'll try to record this 7-8 pages. You listen to that class tomorrow. Only 1 hour you don't need to come here. You watch this rest 1 hour at home, and from day after tomorrow we'll start what? Management audit, which carries 25 marks. Okay, ఒకవేళ నేను రికార్డ్ చేసేస్తే, in case if there is no recording available, again we'll start this chapter only on November 1st, right? So we'll wind up the session now. Thank you. Bye bye.